Do you feel like you're always stuck in the same place, making the same amount of money no matter how hard you try to get ahead? Knowing what you believe may be the key to your financial freedom. Welcome back to my channel, Closer to Your Higher Self. My name is Jerome, and I've been helping people to transform their lives for almost 3 decades. I hope this video finds you when you need to hear it most. If it resonates with you, please hit the like button and also share it with anyone you think will benefit from it. The famous psychologist Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." So let's break this down. When we talk about the conscious, we're talking about the rational, analytical mind. When we talk about the unconscious, we're talking about the subconscious, obviously. And what does the mind contain? Well, the mind contains beliefs, thoughts, ideas, and memories. So essentially, Carl Jung was saying, if you have beliefs, thoughts, ideas, and memories that you're not aware of, these things will control your life, and you'll think that's how it's supposed to be. And the worst part is, in many cases, the things in your subconscious weren't put there by you. So how do these unconscious beliefs rule your life? Okay, let's say you're in school and you have the unconscious belief that you're not smart. This belief is like a seed that grows into a tree. And this tree is full of thoughts and feelings and memories, all reinforcing the belief that you're not smart. So you sit down for a test, and that belief and all the things on the I'm not smart tree start to kick in. You have thoughts like, oh, I'm probably going to fail. I'm terrible at taking tests. People are going to be disappointed. And you're not just thinking thoughts about that belief. There are feelings that go along with those thoughts. And along with those thoughts, your body is now releasing stress hormones as though you're facing a serious physical threat. The fight, flight, or freeze chemicals. You get anxious, your palms are sweaty, your heart rate increases. Now, with all that going on, how do you think you're going to do on that test? Probably not too well. And then you'll fail the test and say, see, I told you I'm not smart. And now your I'm not smart tree has just grown a little more because now you have a new branch in the form of the test you just failed. The belief influenced the outcome of your test taking, and you're not even aware of it. And worse, you probably didn't even plant the seed for the belief that grew into that tree. Many times, those beliefs are planted by someone else. All it takes is an unaware person to say something derogatory to a child like, "You're so stupid," and the seed is planted. It's very easy for that tree to grow. The nature of children is that they don't question things. It's just absorbed and held as a belief in the subconscious. It's not questioned. And we see the results of this process and we call it fate. It works the same with money. Many people struggle with money. Why? Because of beliefs that we have around money. Beliefs that in many cases were planted when we were children. The belief, for example, that money is tight or there's never enough money. Now, if you were young and you saw your parents stressed about paying rent or buying food, you absorbed that into your subconscious as an unquestionable belief that there's never enough money. Now, if this is your experience and you saw it during your entire upbringing, that seed is already a tree by the time you're an adult and on your own. And just like the test-taking example, the belief generates thoughts and actions. Feeling anxious about not having enough money. And when you have a little money, you may make bad decisions because you believe that money is tight, and so your subconscious makes it a reality. You might miss a job opportunity or squander money on frivolous things, all to make sure that your reality lines up with your beliefs. And at the end of the day, you'll say, see, there's never enough money. it's always tight. Again, the unconscious is directing your life and you're calling it fate. See, things that we absorb as children aren't usually questioned. They stick. I have some friends who are Catholic, and I've been to weddings and funerals in those churches. And when the pastor says something like, "Blessed is he who art thou," everyone responds in unison saying something like, "And all who art in heaven." And they don't even think about it. It just comes out. Why? Because they learned it as children and the subconscious absorbed it. Now, as a child, I went to a different kind of church. It was a Pentecostal church, and we too had things that were taught that were absorbed into the subconscious. Sin, punishment, eternal hellfire, terrible things. And these things were so ingrained that even when I decided as an adult that it wasn't for me, I was still being affected by the beliefs in my subconscious. Seriously, when something unfortunate would happen, I would think, oh man, maybe God is mad at me. Or maybe I should be going to church. Or what if I go to hell? This is because making a conscious decision doesn't automatically get rid of the subconscious belief. That takes a little more work. So how do we change these things that are affecting our lives without our knowledge? Well, first, you have to know what you believe. Now, I think writing is very helpful for finding out what's in your subconscious. So take out a piece of paper or a notebook, and let's use money as an example. Say there's a big expense that comes up, or you get a bill that you weren't expecting. How do you feel? Do you get that little pang in your side? Feel a slight bit of panic? Now, if you had to explain how you felt, how would you put it into words? Would you write, "I can't afford this right now," or "just when I thought I was going to get ahead"? Sound familiar? Probably the same things you heard your parents say. And you probably felt the stress that they were feeling when they made those statements, which is represented by that pang you felt when you got the bill. The thought and the feeling together are a result of the belief that there's never enough money. So now you know what you believe. That's a huge step. You've made the unconscious conscious, but you're not done yet. You have to begin to remove those beliefs. That tree has been growing for a good portion of your life, so you can't just remove it with an affirmation. I don't care how many affirmations you say. It won't matter if that subconscious belief is in control. Affirmations work in the conscious mind, but that money belief has taken root in your subconscious mind. So we have to examine these beliefs and understand that they are not true, and then replace it with another belief. Okay, so how do we determine that these ideas are not true? Okay, of course, we're going to do another exercise. Okay, I'm a very spiritual person, but I also believe in science. And in science, you can have an idea or a theory about something that you think might be true or factual or a law. But if you can find one instance where the theory is not true, then the theory goes out the window. It's been proven untrue. So we're going to write down the belief that there's never enough money. And then think about what's happened over the course of your life. Now, I'm willing to bet that if you're watching this video and you've made it to this point in your life, you've always had enough money. Now, I'm not saying you've always had everything that you desired. I'm saying that you've always had enough. Now, think about a time in your life when you thought you might not have enough, but then it turns out that you did. For me, before I bought this place, I was living in a condo that turned out had a lot of structural issues. Now, I wanted to buy a new place, but because of the structural problems, it was going to be almost impossible to sell. Well, it turns out a developer offered to buy the building and turn it into apartments. And I got much more than I would have gotten by selling it myself. Now, I'm willing to bet that you can find some instances. Now, write them down. Now, what can you say about these cases where you thought there wouldn't be enough money, but then you had enough? You can say, I've always had enough. And how did you feel when you had enough? Abundant, grateful, joyful? Write these things down. Okay, so let's recap up to this point. You made your unconscious belief conscious. You've proven that that belief is not true. So what is true given that you've survived up until this point? Maybe you can say something like, despite having difficult times, I've always had enough. I've always had enough. Now, how does that feel compared to the other belief? Pretty good, right? I always have enough is your replacement belief. Okay, but we're still not done. And this part is very important. And you have to be aware when those false beliefs surface because you've had them so long, they're on autopilot. And you'll know when they surface because you'll get that feeling that's attached to the belief. And when you get that feeling, that old feeling that there's never enough money, you have to say no, stop that line of thinking, and then use your replacement beliefs. I always have enough. In the beginning, it will help if you can think about the times when you've had enough and how you felt in those times. Joyful, grateful, fortunate. Imagine yourself reliving those times and feeling those feelings. And this is very important because the subconscious understands feelings and pictures more than logic. Repeat the belief and feel the feeling. Now, do that enough times and the new belief will take hold. And one more thing, if you can find something to be grateful for, your new belief will be even stronger. It could be something small like, I'm glad I had enough money to pay my telephone bill today. The statement, along with the feeling of gratitude, helps to solidify that belief even more. And soon you won't even have to think about it. It will operate on the level of the subconscious, just like the old belief. If you did this exercise along with me, congrats. You've just done something that the vast majority of people will never do. You've examined your subconscious, identified a belief that was holding you back, and you replaced it with another belief. And as I said in a previous video, your beliefs determine your thoughts and your thoughts determine your actions. In other words, if you did the exercise, you've just changed your reality. You are directing your life and not your unknown beliefs. Now, try doing that exercise with other beliefs. And as you replace your false beliefs, you'll be getting closer to your higher self. Now, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for staying with me. And let me know in the comments how you did with the exercise. Take care, and I hope to see you next time on Closer to Your Higher Self.